Thomas Green here with Ethical Marketing Service. On the episode today, we have RJ Grimshaw. RJ, welcome.
Hi, Thomas. How are you today?
Marvelous. Thank you for asking. Would you like to take a moment and tell the audience a bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Currently, I'm the CEO president for Unify Equipment Finance. We're a long-established equipment finance that was started in 1978, and I'm fortunate enough to be the second CEO president. But however, I'm a third-generation entrepreneur that just landed in corporate America really by accident. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. My dad owned several businesses. My grandmother on my dad's side owned a florist. My grandfather on my mother's side owned a soda distributorship back in the 30s and 40s. My uncle was the CEO of Black & Decker. As well as I had another uncle that owned several optician stores throughout New Hampshire and Vermont. So it's just naturally in my blood to see business owners and entrepreneurs, the sacrifices as well as the wins of bettering people's lives. So a little bit of big picture background on myself, but I love business. I'm a student of business. It's ever changing, and it seems like the change of pace just continues to get faster and faster here throughout the last decade or so.
Well, thank you for the introduction. You said you're a student of business. If someone was to say to you, what are your best lessons? What would you lead with there, or what springs to mind?
Best lesson is take action. So many business owners, entrepreneurs have a great idea, myself included. I'll hold myself accountable. There's several things that I've thought over the years that, boy, this would provide a solution for this issue, but I didn't take action. And 3 or 4 years later, you would see that business and things of that nature. But I would say take action. If you firmly believe in your heart of hearts that you have a solution that's going to serve a problem that people are facing or businesses are facing on a daily basis, take action. And as you take that action, you can learn and pivot and things of that nature. I'm not saying take action that is irresponsible. However, start your journey. Don't wait. And I'll give you a story of this. I was actually fortunate enough to be a judge 3 or 4 years ago for a Shark Tank type of show. And there was one particular entrepreneur that has been doing due diligence and research on his idea for 12 years. That doesn't work. I'm all about due diligence. I'm all about understanding the business side of it and the practical side of it. However, he just is, I don't want to say lost 12 years. However, if he just would have jumped in and learned, he could at least started generating revenue and then bring it to market, where 12 years of due diligence is too much. Now, that's an extreme case of that. However, anyone that's listening to this today, if you know you have an idea, take action and start doing, and it will pay dividends.
Do you think that in that example, and perhaps in others as well, do you think it's a genuine attempt at being prepared, or do you think there's a lot of fear of failure in those instances?
You're spot on, Thomas. It's a fear. It's a fear of what's going to happen. It's a fear of it's a fear, and I'll use myself again as an example. Anytime I've ever taken a promotion or moved my family or looked at a business, my dad taught me many years ago, it's a basic principle. Just do your T, pros and cons, go through, and typically it's human nature to go through the worst case scenario, at least for myself. And it always led to worst case scenario. You have great learnings. You've increased your knowledge base, and you might come back to where you are in terms of your career, things of that nature. And on the other side, on the positive, it's all upside. I was actually featured in an article 7 years ago or so on CEOs in our industry that took calculated risks of their corporate career, and the calculated is the right word. However, if you don't take action, you can do all the calculation you want in the world. It's not going to mean anything. It's not going to mean anything for your family. It's not going to mean anything for the people you're trying to serve. And there was a lot of times that I would do that T, and make the decision that it didn't make sense. However, I was taking action to understand it didn't make sense, and then I could move on and move away from that idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think there are some personality differences which can help there. So, for example, I am very much of maybe one side of the curve on that. So I much prefer to take action on stuff and find out rather than, should we say, lots and lots of preparation. But if you are of the type of person that likes to be prepared, have you got any thoughts on what they can do to help themselves take action?
So I would just say, and again, there are areas of my life that sometimes I do over prepare. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. However, though, I've tried to develop a system to work through if there is something that I'm trying to prepare for, because at the end of the day, preparation is everything. My two boys, I have two sons, and actually they're young men now. Just celebrated their birthdays yesterday. Matter of fact, they're born on the same day. So you want to talk about preparation? There's some preparation for you, huh? It makes it really easy for my wife and I to remember their birthdays. But preparation is so important. However, you just can't continue to over prepare. And when I say preparation, if you know what the objective is or the goal is, and when I used to coach sports, preparation took place during the week, and then it was game time on the weekends. So as you're looking at ideas, you have to have a timeline that you're going to move on. So if you're preparing for something, you need to say, okay, I'm going to work on it for the next 48 hours to prepare, but then I'm going to take action. And then you narrow that window, like the example of the gentleman that did his due diligence preparation for 12 years. He never had a date that he said, okay, I'm going to get to here, and then I'm going to go forward or make that conscious decision to go forward. So I would just say put some book stops around it in terms of some timelines. And we all know that when you're making goals, SMART goals, they always have a timeline associated with what you're trying to achieve. And people have to remember that it's about the journey and the knowledge and the learnings during that, and not look at it as a failure if you decide to take action and it doesn't work out. It's always, and that's where I say I'm a student of business, because every single day I'm trying to learn, and I will fail today. There's no doubt about it. I'll make a mistake today. I'll fail at something today. But it's about the learnings from that. And knowledge is so easy to get to. It's almost too easy to get to. And I think that's why some people over prepare, because you can seek knowledge anywhere you look now today with the tools that we have.
100% in line with your answer. And I can say that there's plenty of things which I have done and also, should we say, learnt from, which didn't help me with what I was trying to achieve, but helped me later on down the line. So 100% agree with what you said there. Just coming back to your story.
I would like to add to that real quick, though, Thomas. Sorry to interrupt you.
Fine.
You just made a very, very, very critical point. And it's important, whatever you're working on, that it somewhat aligns with who you are. For example, I look at a lot of business opportunities. I look at a lot of pitch decks. I'm asked to sit on advisory boards and things of that nature. And I am very disciplined to stay in my lane and my knowledge base, where if I am trying to learn something new, I know that it's going to help me long term with where I want to go. An example of that is if it's something that either I don't have an interest in, two, I know nothing about, and they're making a big ask of me to sit on an advisory board or help with something. I don't want to take a lot of time to try and learn that if it's not going to selfishly, help me in the long term or help that person who's asking that in the long term. So I would say you have to understand who you are, understand who your strengths and your weaknesses are. And at the end of the day, it has to resonate with you, whatever you're trying to do, or find people that it would resonate with and maybe hand it off to them and do some type of JV or, an equity joint venture, something like that. But stay true to who you are and your core beliefs and drivers.
Thanks for the qualification. I did want to talk to you about what you originally mentioned, which was your family a lot of your family are either sort of CEOs or business owners or entrepreneurs. When I ask people about their story, typically I like to ask about who their mentors are, who their influences are, and if someone is particularly entrepreneurial, whether they had a influence at that age. Did you go straight into being a business owner or entrepreneur, or did you, when you started out, were you influenced at the beginning?
Influenced by my father, Gene, and he was my mentor. He unfortunately passed away at a young age, actually at the age of 61 from a heart attack. However, the 30 years that I was able to learn from him growing up, and I don't want people to think that my parents' first business was a mobile home park. In 1967, they built a 40-unit mobile home park. They did the work themselves. I wasn't born yet, but they did the work themselves. So it wasn't a silver spoon where it was just instant success, and I was born into this. I saw my parents sacrifice, as well as my mother was a mentor. I saw what it took. She raised 4 boys and ran, the mobile home park while my dad was running a rigging company and other companies. So to answer your question specifically, I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I read, I'm going to date myself. I read, the entrepreneur magazines when they used to actually come in the mail to you, or Inc. magazine. This was pre-internet, of course, so that's where your knowledge came from. And I was always looking at business opportunities. As a matter of fact, my first, not official business, but my first business was in our local community during the 4th of July parade. A buddy and I would go and buy popsicles before the 4th of July parade with a little red wagon and a cooler, and we'd sell popsicles. And that was before the day of regulations, and you have to have this, permit and things of that nature. And I think we would maybe make $50 each. And back then it was like, holy cow, this is great spending money to start our summer with. And then naturally it just progressed. That's where I started my first official business with my brother, and my dad was our sponsor in terms of financially, which was a bar restaurant that we took from concept to $1 million business. And ultimately, I sold my interest in that business to my brother, and he actually ran it successfully for close to 25 years and recently sold it 2 years ago. And if anyone's been in the bar restaurant business, kudos to you. It's probably the hardest business to run, especially in the world we live in today, because there's just so many variables. And then whoever would have thought that, you would be just shut down on a short notice from the government, and your livelihood could be affected. And successful businesses, of course, as we all know, pivoted very quick, and some didn't make it, and some thrived. So to answer your question, though, that was a long-winded answer, but yeah, I love business owners, and that's my why is meeting with business owners, talking to them about their business, and due to the fact that I've been a student of this, I believe I can add value and help them. It doesn't matter what the topic might be. Most likely I experienced it, or I've seen someone that did experience it and have access to that person to be able to help with that problem, or trying to grow revenue, or anything that a business owner might be facing.
Thank you for the answer, and I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
Thank you.
Coming back to the reasons why that you were very, should we say, inclined to go into entrepreneurship, was it because you had a clear benefit as to why you wanted to do it, or were you just that way influenced or inclined?
Wonderful question. And I love talking about intrapreneurship, which is the definition of intrapreneurship is someone that has the mindset of an entrepreneur, but they're working within the confines of a larger business or within a business. So I would say it's more of a mindset of ownership and life learning and passion, energy. It wasn't the sexiness. And a lot of people, unfortunately, say, oh, I want to own my own business. And then if I'm talking with someone, and typically maybe they're still in college or just coming out of college in their early 20s, and I'll always push back on them and say, well, tell me why. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to be a business owner? And if they say a couple words such as freedom, flexibility, I don't have to work that hard, I can make millions. That's a red light to me real quick, where they don't understand what it takes. Remember, I saw the discipline. I saw the sacrifices. I saw the long hours. I saw the stress. I saw everything that came, that people don't talk about as much as we probably should. We talk about the wins, and we talk about the Jeff Bezos and the, Steve Jobs, and things of that nature, and that resonates. We don't talk about most businesses. Are a lot of people, unfortunately, buy jobs, and they really aren't focused on growing a business. And I tell everyone they should at least have the E-Myth read every year, because it really gives great outlines of the work on your business and not in your business. So it's just more, I wouldn't say that the entrepreneurship was sexy where I saw it. It was more so a mindset more than anything else, of just owning the path I wanted to go on. And then, I've had just as much success, knock on wood, surrounded by incredible people, as an intrapreneur working within a company that I didn't have to take any risk or risk any of my dollars. However, I brought my mindset that I've developed into the corporate environment. And so many people can, do that. They just don't understand what intrapreneurship is.
So you said about the answers that might be red flags as to why someone might be an entrepreneur. What in your view is, let's say, a good answer to that question?
A good answer to that question is someone that says, I have a solution that will provide, or I have an answer that will provide a solution to someone, and I'm very passionate about it, and I know I'm going to work long hours. I know I'm going to, sacrifice, and I'm going to try and build it out and surround myself with talented people. For example, right now I'm working with a gentleman out of Tampa who's an amazing engineer, absolutely brilliant engineer in terms of developing software and applications to serve the needs of a certain particular industry. What he lacks, he's trying to surround himself with in terms of marketing, sales people, processes improvements internally in the business, go-to-market strategies, developing that perfect avatar for his client. So when I talked to him and got to know him better, he was saying all the right things in terms of, I haven't been on vacation for the last couple of years. I love what I do. However, these are my gaps, and this is what I'm trying to surround myself with. And oh, by the way, I don't want to learn that skill set because I don't think I'm going to be good at it. I want to develop software. I want to develop solutions and do that, and then bring in the professionals around me. So that's a good answer. Where again, and I'm not looking for someone that just is all work, because you have to have. I don't call it work-life balance anymore. It's work-life integration. Because there's no such thing, especially with remote work, and we're tied to our phones, and there's access to people 24/7. That's why it's so important to, and it's oversaid and it's overemphasized, love what you do. But it really is important. You have to enjoy. Now, I love golf. Doesn't mean I can go make a living at it. However, that's something I love to do. And then I integrate it with, I like to golf with people I do business with, or people that I potentially could do business with, or people that are like-minded and are going to make me a better person. So, that's a good answer when you're talking to someone that wants to be an entrepreneur.
You mentioned intrapreneurship, which I could barely pronounce. So, but do you think that, because entrepreneurship in some instances, I think I've heard people say that entrepreneurs sometimes aren't good at operating their own business. So do you think that intrapreneurs are actually good operators with some accountability and some ownership applied to it? Is that fair?
That is spot on. I believe, and I say all the time, that every great entrepreneur needs a great intrapreneur to drive their dreams and vision. They are the doers. They are the operators. Because we know that entrepreneurs, a lot of them are visionaries. They're dreamers. They're always thinking big picture. However, it comes down to execution. And your intrapreneurs within your organization are the people that are going to drive that execution of that vision. So you're spot on with your analysis of saying that. I wish entrepreneurship was a different word, because it does get confusing between entrepreneur and intrapreneurship, and people do confuse that. And the way that I just say is, think about, intrapreneurs, you're in the business, but you think just like that business owner. You take ownership, and a lot of the coaching that we do is to business owners developing this entrepreneurship culture, which is extremely easy to do within their organization, and then the benefits of developing that culture.
As I understand it, some of the work that you do, or at least some of the topics you've covered, is actually trying to help people establish whether they are one of those two categories. So how might someone go about realizing whether they're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur?
Great question. And as I do speeches or talk and sit on panels, I'll see so many people, all of a sudden you'll see that light go off and they'll say, I am an entrepreneur. That's who I am. And typically there's 5 characteristics that I teach that a business owner can look within their organization to identify these folks. Or if you're an individual, that you can self-identify. The first one being that you have just a passion of life. You're passionate about everything you do. You're passionate about just becoming a better person. Number 2, you're tenacious. And what I mean by tenacious is that you just go to figure out that solution for that problem. The third one is you're extremely resourceful. Back to our points of a business owner and a startup or wherever you are, you have to be extremely resourceful to figure out, because maybe you don't have the capital to be able to do a project. An example of that real quick is one of my entrepreneurs within Unify came to me and said, I believe that we need a portal to be able to accept payments from our customers. Blind spot to me, was not on my radar. I said, great. However, there's no dollars allocated for this improvement. So you're going to have to do it with no dollars. And then you're going to have to own it if you believe it's important. And I'll support you with doing that. Well, he was able to bring together our IT department, an outside provider, marry the two, bring them together. And we rolled out a portal to collect payments. And now we collect close to $100,000 a month through this portal that this entrepreneur within the company drove to success. And I was on number 3. So number 4, they're a life learner. Doesn't matter if they want to learn about business, if they're a life learner about hobbies, but they're not someone that goes home and binge watches Netflix all weekend long. They're learning. It could be gardening. It could be, a sport. It could be a hobby. It doesn't matter, but they're always working this muscle right here. And then last but not least is they're challenging the status quo. You'll never hear an entrepreneur say, well, we've always done it like that. They're always going to be saying, well, why? Well, why? And they will push people out of their comfort zone. However, at the end of the day, it's only going to make the company better. And if you are an entrepreneur and you're asking why, the way that I phrase this, just to bring down the defense mechanism of human beings, which we are all defensive of our own ideas, myself included, I'll say, I'm not saying it's wrong. I just want to learn to understand it better. And may I ask some questions as you describe how we do this or how this is done today? And a lot of times I'll say, you know what, sounds great. If you don't think there's any challenges, who am I to change it? Sounds perfect. But if I believe there's a better way to do it, I'll keep asking. And a lot of times they'll have self-discovery themselves and say, you know what, we've always done it like this. I've been in the jar. I can't see the label. You're right. Maybe we should change that.
Is there any way we can go about finding intrapreneurs and maybe identifying them in the hiring process?
So in the hiring process, that's a wonderful question. We did an experiment, and we continue to do this, where we would put out a job description, and we added in one, say job description B, we just added the word that we wanted someone with an entrepreneurship mindset. And that's all we said. We didn't put a description. We didn't put a definition. And it was amazing, Thomas, to see the quality of the candidates for B, where we added entrepreneurship mindset, and A, where we didn't. The quality was so much higher with the B candidates because that word resonated with them. Either they knew about it or they went out and Googled it and said, they self-identified, said, that's who I am. Because remember, and this is a very important point to make for business owners when you are trying to identify intrapreneurs or hire intrapreneurs. They're going to give you more discretionary effort than any other team member in your company because of everything that I just outlined in terms of those characteristics. They're going to push and work harder than most of your team members because they want to learn. They have a passion for what they do. I have to make this point, which is very, very important though, for the intrapreneur as well as for the business owner hiring. You have to be aligned. That intrapreneur has to be aligned with the vision of the company, has to be aligned with the solution they're providing, because if they're not, it will not work. It has to resonate with the intrapreneur. And if you're an intrapreneur out seeking that job or seeking a new career opportunity or seeking a new position, please make sure you're aligned with what the company's mission is, where they're going, what they're doing, and you believe in that.
It's actually a good leadership principle that I like, which is making sure that everyone knows what direction they're going in and how they can help take that company where it's supposed to be going. So yeah, definitely worth highlighting. In terms of, you mentioned the E-Myth,
well said,
which has been should we say, an influence on me. What did you learn from it, and why do you recommend it to others?
I'm a simple guy, and it's really the principle of working on your business, and you have to be. It's hard. It's very hard, and I still have to remind myself of this. But carving out time to work on your business and having a process around that. So it's either putting time on your calendar and then understanding what your best time is to create and work on things and really use this. And always making the business better, because it's so easy to get caught up in the day to day. And again, I'm guilty of this too. So I work on this on a daily basis. However, I've also told my team that surrounds me at Unify, if they see me going off the rails per se and getting tied up in little things in the business, to push me out and say, RJ, E-Myth. And then that's all they have to say. And I self-identify, you're right. I should not be worrying as a CEO president on this little thing, and trust your team. And I've gotten a lot better at that. However, that's my main learning from it. It's a great read. It's a simple read. And I read it every year as a reminder. If I see something pop up on YouTube, I'll watch it again. But it's just such a basic principle. And I also ask business owners too, or future entrepreneurs, I should say, are you looking for a job, or are you looking to really grow something and be a business? And if you're looking for a job, but you're going to own the job, that's fine. I applaud that. Good for you, because you're going to take the risk. However, understand what you're getting yourself into is what you're doing is you're buying a job that in essence, you're taking the risk and you're taking everything, but that's what you're buying. You're not buying a business where you're going to be able to scale and grow it and leverage it and things of that nature. How about yourself, though? Because you've read it. What was your main takeaway from it?
Interesting question. I think I like the summary of it. I think the what do you call it? The actual story was beneficial to me. So the story was about making pies. I think I read or listened to the 2.0 version. So I'm not sure if it's the original one, but the making pies and the fact that she went into business because she liked making pies, and the actual processes that needed to be put in place in order to make her a business owner was the thing which was a differentiation between being the owner and the operator. So that kind of stuck with me.
I love that. Yeah.
So in terms of what you're doing now, what does your daily activities look like?
So today, my main focus is really managing the growth. We had the team had a record year last year. So it's really continuing that growth. And a lot of my time is managing the larger relationships, managing our banking relationships, being the face for Unify. I'm fortunate enough, I sit on the board of directors for our trade association that I'm very active in. So that takes up some of my time. I'm very active within our bank relationship. And then just really trying to think big picture of where we're going to go. Technology is on the forefront in every single industry, and understanding how we can use and make a better customer journey utilizing technology, because the pace of our customers that are expecting that because of the last couple of years with COVID expedited itself, and it's always changing. So that's really my main focus on a day-to-day. And then just helping other business owners and doing things like I'm doing today, and writing, working on, I have one book ready to go, I'm writing another book, which is very demanding to do. It sounds easy, but when you're trying to put your thoughts and articulate in a certain way that's meaningful, it takes time. So, and then just trying to be the best father I can for my two young sons, and as well as a husband of 32 years with my high school sweetheart, Marianne.
I like the mention of being a parent. It's also something that I care a lot about. You reminded me of something that I wanted to ask you about, which is the banking side of things, which I am. If there is anyone who has neglected any kind of banking relationship, I would be the poster child of that. So I desperately need to hear your message of why it's important to have a relationship with your banker. So RJ, help me. Change my thinking on this one.
Thomas, you're no different than the majority of the people. And God bless my father, rest his soul. He hated every banker he ever met. So for me to end up where I am today, the joke is he's rolling over in his grave several times over. However, I don't consider myself a banker. I consider myself a business owner, a business person that loves helping business. And it's like anything. If you're in business, you need a good bank, you need a good attorney, you need a good accountant, you need to surround yourself with. So to answer your question specifically, you should be interviewing a banker to handle your relationship, or a bank per se, just as much as they're interviewing you. And I would highly recommend that you should go to a community bank. The larger institutions are great for bigger companies. But if you're a small company, and I'll define small company as revenues less than 5 million, you could actually probably go to 10 million. Find yourself a good community banker that it's been at a certain bank for 3-4 years, so they have some consistency and some longevity there. Invite them to lunch. It's really easy. If you just call or you do research on LinkedIn or a bank's website, and you see someone that you read their background or whatever, you're on LinkedIn, you see their bio and it resonates with you, reach out to them and just a simple email. Hi, my name is RJ Grimshaw Thomas. I own XYZ company, interested in forming a bank relationship. This is who I currently bank with. Would you like to grab a cup of coffee with me or lunch? It's as simple as that. And if you start that, and it's going to take time from you as well, like any good relationship. And if they understand your business and you're always proactive, and guess what? Every business goes through challenges. So don't feel ashamed, or if you're having challenges, they're going to have the contacts to hopefully help you. And it's all about your network. And guess what? You can, if you do go with a certain bank and it for some reason doesn't work, there's 100 more out there. So it should be it goes back to the E-Myth, Thomas. It's part of, that is considered working on your business, because that banking relationship is important. And it really proved out during PPP, during COVID. So many business owners were banking with large banks, and I won't mention names because, again, they serve the purpose, and they didn't understand the value of building that relationship with someone local in their market. And then they couldn't get anyone on the phone. They couldn't call and ask. At Unify, we were in front of the curve before COVID. We put together a plan, scripted out how we were going to answer questions, what we were going to do to defer loan payments. We ensured that every single phone call was picked up on the first ring. And our message was, we understand, or actually we don't understand what's going on, because it was a living, moving challenge for all of us, but we're just going to defer the 3 payments. We're going to send you what we call a DocuSign one way, where they just acknowledge that we're deferring the payments. That's it. No other questions. no other requirements. And my goal and our goal and intent was we wanted to be the peace of mind for them with all the craziness going on in the world. We wanted to know that they were all set with Unify and they didn't have to worry about that because they had to probably worry about their home mortgage, student loans, so we wanted to make sure that we were taking good care of them, as well as to PPP. I was actually receiving calls from other businesses across the country. My brother being one, the company he worked for, they banked with a large bank. They couldn't get any answers. So they called me and I tried to walk them through, and we were extremely proactive with that knowledge. And again, I'm not knocking large banks. They serve a purpose. But your audience in the world we live in, people, or even a good credit union, a good commercially focused credit union, make sure they are business focused or they have a commercial, because it is different than just consumer. I'm not saying that remember, your banker serves a purpose, just like your attorney, just like your accountant. They serve a purpose within your business, and they understand what that purpose is. So, and foster that relationship.
Yeah, I think the reason why I have had opinions as I have is because it's been the big banks. So I think maybe looking for a smaller bank might be a better solution. But do you mind telling me about your book that you've written?
Sure. The title of it's Able Leadership, and it's really from my experiences of when I first joined Unify Equipment Finance, and it was my first CEO president's role. So I really walk through my learnings from that, which can be applied in all businesses. And then really we take the principles of that, and ABLE stands for what I did when I came into this opportunity. So ABLE, A stands for analyze. That's the first thing that you do in terms of anything. Back to preparation, right? Analyze. The next one is build. So A is for analyze, B is for build, L is for leverage. Okay, you're going to leverage the business, and then E is for execute. So ABLE, analyze, build, leverage, execute. And then there's certain parameters under that and exercises that are in the book to give the business owners to be able to do. And it doesn't matter, from my perspective and just my beliefs, it doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant business, a finance business, a marketing business. It doesn't matter what the business is. These principles will work across all businesses, all verticals, all sizes. And it's a pretty easy concept, just like the E-Myth. And that's what I was trying to really duplicate, is an easy read, just like the 1 Minute Manager. And a lot of it's from learnings of my mentors, from, from Peter Drucker to other people we've mentioned here, and then taking the life application. There's so many business coaches and so many people, and even in academics, talk about philosophy of doing this. This is from application, and that's where I like to speak and write from.
Did you enjoy the writing process?
I did not. It's very demanding. It's very demanding, and it still is, because we started off with taking action. I took the action. I started the writing. I worked with some professionals. However, it's still sitting on my bookshelf, ready to be published. And I want to make sure that it's the best possible product that I can put out. But I need to put it out, and it is demanding. I'm not a writer by trade. I enjoyed it, but I don't look forward to it.
You're not going to prepare for 12 years, are you?
The answer would be no.
What are your goals, RJ?
My goals, it's really pretty basic. It's to continue to just try and be a better version of RJ on a daily basis, and that it's first most important as a father, and then as a husband, and then as a leader within the organization and within our industry. And then just continue to provide as much knowledge that I can to people I interact with. And that's somewhat my mantra. Every morning when I wake up, I whisper to myself, or I say to myself internally, please help me. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, but I say, God, please help me today to be the best version that I possibly can, and help my tongue to provide the knowledge that it possibly can, sit and listen and have great empathy. And that's my daily mantra.
Well, thank you for that. It's a nice answer. Have you got any closing thoughts for us today?
My only closing thought is what I started with. If you have a dream and you know that you have a good product and solution, take action, continue to learn, and surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that you can add value, but you also can receive value from. It's so important. My wife and I talk about that all the time. You're the product of the five people. It's cliche. People talk about it, but it's critical. And you're going to go through different chapters of your business life as well as your personal life, where someone might have been in that circle 10 years ago and they're no longer in that circle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just continue to aspire to be the best person you can. And when you face a challenge, just take a deep breath, learn from it, and move forward, because I've had them as well.
And if people want to connect with you, where do they find you?
Sure. You can find me at rjgrimshaw.com. That's my website. Also, my email is rj@rjgrimshaw.com. I respond to all the emails I do receive. I would just ask for patience. Usually a couple of days, I'll be back in touch with you. Any questions at all? And then for Unify, our website is teamunify.com. That's for our equipment finance business. We help small and medium-sized businesses across the country finance the equipment they need for either growth or efficiency. So if you have any equipment financing needs, we can support those as well.
So for everyone listening, please review the links in the description. And RJ, thanks for being a great guest today.
Thank you, Thomas.